You talk about them and what they've meant, to the offense, to the success of the Warriors this year.
Well, they're tremendous young men. They're great athletes, and they're great leaders on our team. The great thing about them is that, again, they're two-dimensional. Again, Buddy does a great job of throwing the ball, but he's also a threat to run the ball. He's a big guy. He was a running back last year, so he's a real good runner. Sam Salazar he's a threat to get outside, and he has great hands. He does a great job catching the ball for us, but he has that instinct on cutbacks and stuff. So again, those guys are a big part of our offense. But I think the great part of our offense is obviously the offensive line. We have some big offensive line that make things happen for them. And I think the great thing about our offense right now also is that we're not one-dimensional. Is that even though we try to run the ball, we're fortunate that we do have some great receivers that if they ISO on us, we're able to get them the ball.
Mm. And Coach Ford, you've got a couple of linemen that people already know, are very familiar with him before the season started. Mario Benavides and Eloy Atkinson. They've been there with you the last couple of seasons, but this season it kind of looks like a breakout year for them where, it's their senior year. They could have packed it in and said, I'm going to college, but they got even stronger. Talk about those two guys and what they've done for you.
Well, they're not those kind of kids, kind of hitting on what Tony said about Meshach. They're just guys, they're great kids. I mean, that's what people don't understand is how special it is to be around kids like that every day. And we've been real blessed. We've only going to have them for another month because they're going to graduate early and go on to college. They've had to step it up because it was their senior year and they had to become their football team, which is a little bit different role than they had in the past because we had other leaders that were seniors. But they both, obviously, long season, played through a lot of bumps and bruises and injuries, and that's something else a lot of people don't know, the sacrifice that these kids make to play 13, 14 weeks and how much commitment and how much they give us as coaches. Those are definitely some of the things I'll remember about Mario and Eloy as they go on to college. We definitely feel blessed to have had them, and they've definitely left a legacy there.
And then on top of that, I mean, you got that strength, you got Danny Mendez in the backfield, and then you've been able to plug in a couple of quarterbacks and they've been successful for you. Just talk about that, I mean, if you have Danny Silva, he really matured over the season. Then you throw in Mark Carmona. I mean, just talk about those two guys.
Well, it's been kind of a amazing thing to watch, to be honest with you. We knew Danny would get better as time went on, and when we tried real hard early not to depend on him to do too much. And just as he was hitting his stride, he got injured, but I've got to give our quarterbacks coach, David Cantu, a lot of credit because he did a great job of preparing Mark and a couple of sophomore quarterbacks just in case we had the situation arise. And sure enough, it happened, and Mark stepped in and did a great job, but it was because he was prepared. And we always tell our kids you're one play away, and you got to prepare. And so obviously, as a coach, you're proud for the kid and our quarterback coach that they were able to step in and do the job.
Are you going back to Victoria, where you guys had Weslaco last year? This year at San Antonio Reagan, Coach Tony talked about Madison. Tell me a little bit about Reagan. What do you guys expect to see?
Well, they've got a great tailback, and I actually talked to Coach Rackley at Converse Judson, who coached the Douglas kid. I know you guys remember. He said that the kid Reagan has is the best tailback that's ever come out of San Antonio. So for Jim Rackley to say that, I think it says a lot about how talented the kid is. But obviously, when you're playing the third round, you're going to be playing great football teams and great football players. So really, we're going to spend the majority of our time focusing on our kids and coming up with a plan. We're not going to, stand around and talk about how good Reagan is. We're going to get ready to go try and win a ball game just like we have all year. And but they're definitely the best team we've played thus far. Very well coached and very, very talented. Coach
Gonzalez, talk a little bit about Salado. What type of team do they have?
Well, from what I know about Salado is that they're ranked number 5 in the state. They're big offensively and defensively. They have what they rely on is on the running. They're a running team. They're also I think they're balanced as far as what they do offensively. They do throw a lot of different formations at you to try to make you miss a line and stuff. But again, I think they're a well-coached team. We look forward to playing them, and but we're going to have our hands full against them.
Yeah, and watching your offense this year, even before you got the job, you said, I've been at Lifer, I've been at the Tamanito, I've worked under these good coaches. Watching your offense in action, it brings back some memories for a lot of people because it's that old Y-stack attack. Just talk about what you've picked up from other coaches and how you're using it on offense.
Well, actually, again, being coaching for 20 years, you pick up things from different coaches, and I've been fortunate to be under some great coaches. We ran the Y stack my second year there at San Benito under Tommy Roberts, and I picked up a lot from him and his offensive staff. Again, at Lyford, I was fortunate to work under Joe Solis, which ran the slot T. So again, I learned a lot of the slot T. And then I was fortunate to work with Orlando Garcia at PSA North, which again is a disciple of Coach Villarreal, and also ran the slot T. So again, I felt like, you know, when I had the opportunity to be able to call the plays, I think I took a little bit from everyone that I worked under. I always felt confidence in the Y stack, but again, we just don't stay in the Y stack. The great thing about it is that you're able to get into different formations, but you keep the terminology simple, where you're able to run the same plays off of different formations.
Coach, what's it going to take to beat Madison?
Well, obviously we're going to have a good effort by our kids, and you know, the coaching staff is, you know, they're working real hard to. Hopefully we can we won't have any mismatches and create opportunities for our kids. You know, there's some hidden you know, yardage in their kicking game, so we're going to try to take advantage of those kind of opportunities and just go out there and try to play air-free football. You know, we've kind of been suspect on the extra points. We're missing a couple of extra points, that kind of stuff, and you know, penalties. There's also some yardage there, but I think throwing the football is going to probably be key also. You know, people don't realize this, but Dylan's a hell of a quarterback, and you might see a breakout game from Dylan DeLeon this week.
You talk to a lot of people down here, you know, that follow football, and they say, well, the third round of the playoffs, you know, then it's mental, you know, for the kids. A lot of times, you know, in the San Antonio area, I think they call it Valley Week, you know, where they face the Valley team. It's kind of like just. Right. Is it mental, or is it just that the talent level's a little higher, or are we closing the gap?
Well, I kind of feel like we're closing the gap for the last 10 years. I think that's a pretty good analogy. I mean, in comparison, I don't, you know, it's like Scott said, we're gonna line up and play a football game. I mean, we're gonna play barrio style, and we're gonna go hit them in the mouth. That's what we're telling our kids. They're coming to our house, and we're gonna play barrio style football. Whatever that is, we're gonna hit them in the mouth. And so, I mean, you gotta fire them up, and you gotta do what you have to do. But I guess to answer your question, you know, people need to, and you know, our kids are every bit a champion that anybody else is. I mean, you know, but you got to remember, you know, San Antonio's got a population of 10 million people. You know, you know, we might have 1 million in the whole Rio Grande Valley, or 500,000. I mean, so the Division I talent is kind of bunched up in there. I mean, you know, 10 million versus 500,000, you know, so it's tough, you know, and that's not saying, I mean, you just got to look at the numbers. I mean, I'm a numbers guy, so I look at that opportunity, but we're going to line up and play, and don't be surprised if one of the Valley teams knocks one of those guys off.
Coach Ford, what's it going to take for